And let me just tell you what's happened since then. This is a parallel universe here. This election is not between right and left, it's between right and wrong, and tomorrow and yesterday. And so, as you go out to work and try to stir up the votes and turn the last few voters and maybe persuade young people they ought to go vote when they hadn't intended to, you ought to think about things. You just heard Bill talk about his record. I like it because I grew up in a farming area, and I like that we have a few people from upstate New York who realize that this state would be in much worse shape were it not for agriculture. Someone who's worked for the dairy farmers and the apple farmers and is on the agriculture committee. But to build a 21st century economy, look, we know where the jobs are going to be. They're going to be in small business, manufacturing. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Green energy, agricultural diversification, infrastructure. That's in technology. That's where they are. So the Democrats have repeatedly voted for tax incentives, loan guarantees, and credits to generate these jobs and get them financed. And it is happening. You heard Bill talk about what's happening in this district. You might be interested to know that before they all started work in 2009, and then he later won his special election, the United States had exactly 2% of the manufacturing capacity for these high-powered batteries that create electric cars and hybrid electric vehicles. Because of the tax incentives they adopted, we have 30 plants going up. We have 20% of the world capacity. By 2014, we will have 40% of the world capacity. America's coming back. I was out in Nevada last 3 weeks ago. You talk about a parallel universe in that campaign with Ms. Angle. But they got the highest unemployment rate in America. They had just announced something I never thought I would see again in my lifetime. They announced 4,500 jobs in 2 plants, one making LED lights, 1,000 jobs, 3,500 jobs making wind turbines, and both the plants belong to Chinese businesses. It's about time they brought us some jobs. We've sent them plenty. But here's the point. The point is they said, we want to sell these products in America, and because your Congress has made this competitive, it makes sense for us. Yes, we pay the American workers more, but we don't have to pay the transportation. You have finally decided to compete for the jobs of the 21st century and bring manufacturing back. One of my closest friends in the world, Terry McAuliffe, used to be chairman of the Democratic Party. He is also a crackerjack business person. He just went to China and bought outright 2 car companies. One makes hybrid cars, one makes all-electric small vehicles. They're now American companies. He moved all the jobs to America. He just sold 1,000 cars to Denmark. We are coming back. A lot of these green jobs in America were financed by the stimulus program that Bill's opponent derides. So, and the Republicans said they want to get rid of all these tax incentives and just extend permanently tax credits for people like me. I should be a Republican. They want to take care of me. I love saying this. I love saying this because I never had a nickel in my name. But they want to add $600 billion to the national debt. $600 billion, listen to this, to extend the tax cuts for people that make over $1 million and to get rid of all these incentives for green energy manufacturing. Now, forget about, I'm not bashing rich people. We had more millionaires and billionaires when I was president than ever before. We don't resent people being rich in America. We want them to make money the old-fashioned way by creating opportunity for everybody else. And we want them to make all they can make. But they want to get rid of these incentives and instead just push it up, which they've been doing for 30 years. We already saw how it worked. It's a big choice. The future is in bringing back manufacturing. The future is in helping small businesses get financed. The future isn't bringing new technology. I was so glad to hear him say broadband. We fell to 21st in the world in the speed of our broadband connections. We ought to be first. It would have a huge impact in this district. So, if you want the jobs of the future, you don't have much choice. You got to vote for Bill Owens. Look, I don't have anything against his opponent, and I'm glad he had a good time on Wall Street. But frankly, a lot of the things that made those guys a ton of money was bad for the economy. You look at this Adelphia deal. What did they do? I see this all over. There were zillions of deals like this. They'd sell some company, finance it with a huge amount of debt. All the people in the middle got their massive fees and made millions of dollars. And then a company that once produced something people liked to buy and could afford to buy could no longer do it because they had so much debt. So real people lost their jobs and the real economy suffered. I personally would rather have someone who served in the military, spent their lives in Plattsburgh, and knew how to create jobs right here in this district. Not about left and right, it's about right and wrong, and tomorrow versus yesterday. Just remember that. Now, also, if you want to get these jobs, you've got to make sure people are educated and trained to do them. So he's done a lot of work on this. And you got to train people. There are 3 million job vacancies in America today that have been open for more than a month because people can't move like they used to because more than 10 million of us are living in homes worth less than our mortgages. And if you move, your credit's toast. But the other thing is a lot of people aren't trained for the jobs that are opening. So we've got to work on this job training, and he supported education budgets that will do that. The Republican budget proposal that they say they will enact calls for an immediate across-the-board cut in aid to education of 25%. That's bad for you for 2 reasons. Number one, bye-bye 3 million jobs. We could fill these jobs in 2 months and lower the unemployment rate 2%. Number two, hello property tax increases. This is a bad idea. This is not a conservative idea. It's a bad idea. So if you want to fill those 3 million jobs, you got to vote for Bill Owens. This is not a complicated thing.